Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants, Tommy Chrysan, Monday morning edition here. The last Monday edition of the month of July. As we are down the home stretch, the Texas Collegiate League regular season is in the books. Over. We'll tell you how the Roug finished. Also, the Major League Baseball trade deadline is this week. The United States leads in the medal count, 12 medals to France's 10 right now. The Dream Team 2024, LeBron James and them get off to an impressive win. LeBron James, even at his 38 years old, 39, whatever the heck he is, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, still the best player on the court. Kevin Durant coming off the bench looked healthy, which is great news. So the United States turned it on for their first game of the year against Serbia. And LSU football starts on Thursday. I mean, here we are. The old school days are not here anymore with the two-a-days with, banging heads for, morning and evening for, 2 weeks, full pads. All those days are over. But LSU football practice begins on Thursday. That is August 1st. And from that point on, we are now we're basically a month from that date to USC. Looking forward to it. Going to be exciting. Tommy Chrysan joining us from Court Street Cafe over in downtown Port Allen, right across the Mississippi River Bridge, less than 5 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge. You can go see Court Street Cafe. And TK, the Baton Rouge Rougarou finished strong, win 4 in a row, 23-21 on the year. That is the best regular season record in Rougarou history in the 5 seasons that the Baton Rouge Rougarou have been in existence. 3 on the third year in a row under, obviously, myself owning the team. First time they finished over 500 for the season. 23-21, finished with the best record out of all the Louisiana teams. Finished ahead of the Acadiana King Cutters, finished ahead of the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators as far as best record. The Louisiana champions, as we kind of jokingly called ourselves yesterday over in Lake Charles when that game ended. So anyway, the Rougarou finished strong. Don't make the playoffs, which is super disappointing. The format is two parts to the season. You have first half, second half. Lake Charles won the first half championship. Acadiana won the second half championship. Rougarou finished second for both of those halves and had the best overall record, but that gets you a lot of nothing is what it gets you.
Well, here's the other thing, too. They tied for second with the best record of all 6 teams. Victoria Generals clearly had the best record. They smoked everybody. You were tied with Brazos Valley for the overall second best record. And again, best team in Louisiana. Doesn't get you into the playoffs, unfortunately, as you said. And then here's the other thing, Ronnie. The 3 teams who have turf played 47 games. Everybody else played 44. A little bit shout out for the turf. I know we're working on it. But anyway, so it was a good way to end the season with 4 straight wins and nominated some players for Player of the Week this morning. That'll come out late today, I believe. So we'll begin preparing for next year's Rougarou. I've been with you since day one when you bought the team, and I'm ready for next year. Got to win the thing next year, okay? It's Super Bowl or bust. It's going to be Texas Collegiate League Championship or bust. First half, second half, Louisiana, Texas. No, it's got to be win the league next year. I'm ready.
100%. Now, the impressive thing about this was, we finished strong, 14-5 at home, which was always nice. Always good to have a good home record. We just need to make sure we can play. We can, instead of being 14-5, we can be 20-4 at home, and or something like that. The way we get our 24 home games in, and not just play like we did this year. But anyway, trending in the right direction. We definitely, you learn each and every year. We unfortunately, quite frankly, had a really good. We had a better team on paper than what the product was. We underachieved in the first half, as good as we really were in the first half. we just did not play certain. We had certain guys that were all stars in this league before, guys that had really good springs at their colleges, just lay an egg. And so, sometimes it's hard to do. What all you can do is go get the best players you can. And a lot of these guys were veterans who had really good years in our league, had really good years in their spring, and just for whatever reason didn't play well. And so we made a couple of tweaks and changes in the second half, and finally, unfortunately, a little too slow before we hit our stride. And credit to Acadiana Cane Cutters, they really played. They really did well the second half. They were on fire the last 2 weeks of the season, and even as well as we played, we couldn't catch them. And the Acadiana Cane Cutters deserved to be the second half champions. I thought the one that got away was the first half. I thought we were the best team by far in the first half out of the 3 teams from Louisiana, but yet the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators, they won it. They had a little bit of a horseshoe. Everything went, they won every close game, and we just didn't. We didn't throw enough strikes out of the bullpen in the first half, and we had too many guys that didn't hit in the first half. And yeah, we still ended up with a winning record and finished second. But that was kind of the story there. So back to the drawing board. We will give our best effort to put a championship team together for next year.
And Mama Rance World Traveler says, "Good morning from Perdido Key."
That's right. Well, I'll be seeing my here pretty soon. So, anyway, the TCL, by the way, the playoffs, Lake Charles Gumbo Gators and the Acadiana Cane Cutters play a best 2 out of 3 this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Winner of that will take on the winner of the Victoria Generals, who had a fantastic season. They had a 75% winning percentage, greatest season in their franchise history. And they will take on the Brazos Valley Bombers out of Bryan, Texas. And the winner of that series will play a 1-game winner-take-all August 3rd. It will be in Texas because both the Texas teams have better records than the 2 Louisiana teams, so best overall record. So it'll either be in Victoria or Brazos on Saturday will be the championship game, and we'll find out who the winner is. We'll start signing players as early as next Monday, Tommy. A week from today, we can start re-signing players, and we'll offer probably about 10 of our 30 that we have on our roster right now. We'll offer contracts to them. We'll see how many of them take them. We have a week to re-sign our players before they become free agents to everyone else, and then we can go start stacking our team for next year. And the goal is to have a solid 40-man roster by Thanksgiving. And so that process begins right now. So, have you caught any of the Olympics, Tommy? I mean, have you caught any of it besides just knowing what the medal count is? Have you watched anything?
I have not. I have not done that. Actually watched Major League Baseball all day yesterday, from morning till night. Several games I watched a whole lot of. Then I piecemealed a few games. I don't know. I mean, it's a choice. I just can't get into the Olympic thing. I will watch track and field with Mondo Duplantis. I will watch some of the other track and field events. It goes on to August the 11th. How much have you watched, Brian?
Well, outside of the water polo that we watched when we were doing the show on Saturday,
okay, I saw that. I don't count that.
And a little bit of the men's basketball. That's about it. But now that the season's over with, I'm planning on watching a little bit each day, at least getting the recap stuff at night. But LeBron James, it's incredible. He at his age, oldest United States basketball player ever to play in the Olympics, and of course for many decades amateurs. So that's what. But I mean, you keep waiting for the new blood. You keep waiting for the new leadership. You keep waiting for the new crop of American greats to take over, and yet it's still James and Durant. I mean, they're this, and to a certain degree, it kind of concerns me a little bit about the future. That here we are with guys in their 30s are the face of the United States men's basketball team, and they're the ones that are with the heavy load and the heavy lifting when all the young guys that aren't stepping up.
Craig Schilling makes a comment. He's a big sports fan, but hasn't watched 1 second of the Olympics. Again, a lot of stuff. The problem with the Olympics that I see it, it's so every story is not about the Olympics. It's about other stuff related to the Olympics. Now I know Kevin Durant was 8 for 8, 5 for 5 at the 3-point line at the beginning of the game yesterday against Serbia. And arguably the best first half in Olympic basketball history. He was unbelievable. Only got 2 points in the second half, but they rolled to a 26-point victory. So, but I just, every day it's just something else. The cheating thing with the Canada women's team. I mean, it's just, there's always been a story, but it's not like so-and-so got this medal or so-and-so came from behind in the 400-meter freestyle. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why the narrative is a sideshow.
You don't like the TMZ aspect of the Olympics. See, the human side, you don't like that part.
No, I want to know that somebody was, came from behind, or the one gymnast from LSU, it didn't work at Finnegan. It didn't work out like she wanted. And then she had a score, and she had chosen to not keep that score. She tried to put it up higher, but she ended up being lower. And then that's the way it goes. That's what I want to hear. Stories like that about the success or the failure, the agony of defeat thing. And we're just not getting that out of the Olympics. It's all about the drag queens and the cheating and the guy that yelled out something and then got hurt. Anti-Semitic slur that got hurt. I mean, that's all the stories. I mean, maybe I got to dig deeper. I don't know.
Well, I mean, those are the ones that get the clicks. Those are the ones that get the interest. I mean, quite frankly, there's the beach volleyball player for what is it, Denmark or Netherlands, whatever, that when he was about 5 years ago or longer, raped a 12-year-old girl, went to jail even, and then he's back in the Olympics. I mean, he's in the Olympics, which why the IOC would even allow a convicted rapist to be eligible to play in the Olympics. And I don't know what the rules are. Obviously, that's once you're a convicted felon, in the United States, you can't vote. But can you be in the Olympics? Like I don't even know what the rules are on that. Like I've never, I guess, even had that conversation, right? To know if you're allowed. I guess you are allowed to compete.
He's competing.
Yeah.
Well, here Nookie says they've lost the plot by making everything a human interest story. So again, and I'm just one barely a dot on the radar, but I just think there's a lot of people who, like Greg said earlier, big sports fan, just not watching it. Now you've been really busy, and that's part of it. And we'll see if it ramps up this week for you. We've been able to watch some stuff. Now I do look at the schedule to see, what's going on, and I saw the video clip. I don't know if you saw it, Robert, that some move Simone Biles made on the vault. It's never been done before, and she pulled it off, and I saw the video of that.
Oh, yeah. Vault where she has her legs out straight. And
and I saw the video. So it's not like I've ignored the Olympics. I just have ignored, the convicted felons who raped a 12-year-old girl participating. That makes me go, let me put on the Yankees and the Red Sox,
Yeah. I think it's the pike rotation thing she does. She's got Simone Biles. There's a great Netflix documentary that you'll never watch about her, and it's there are, I think, Tommy, now 5 or 6 apparatus moves that are named after her.
Right, I read that too.
That's incredible. Like nobody has like more than 1 or 2.
So I remember the Fosbury flop. Remember Dick Fosbury went over on the high jump, took a different route than the old, what was the conventional way at the time. They got named after him, and they still do that. Let's name something after Mondo Duplantis, like Winner, or he keeps jumping higher. What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Mondo thing is there's another good documentary that a friend of his made that followed him for years. Young producer, that's definitely worth a watch there, and to see the high jump pit in his backyard and Lafayette. I was actually talking to Antoine Duplantis. Saw him a few times the last couple of months, and Antoine was explaining to us about the creation of that pit and how over time they kept adding to it and moving it around and making it bigger and taller, and just how bizarre it must be for the neighbors over the years, right? To just sit there and watch people jumping high over and over and over and over. And And to this day, I mean, not that Mondo goes and trains at his house, but if he is back there visiting family or whatever, they'll do a little train. But he Antoine talked about that the pit that they have, how there was something about the runway and where they put the pole because it was so just rigged that he feels like some of the technique that Mondo he says Mondo does something with his pole where he like when he's running down the runway where he like before he for he goes high, he does something where he bounces it or whatever, that he kind of this little tweak, this little technique that he uses, he feels like he created it out of necessity out of the backyard pit that he when he trained and the way they ran and the way that they but it actually helps him. Like other pole vaulters don't do it, and it's something he does, and it helps him jump higher and all that. And he really believes and credits that backyard homemade pit that they threw together with some of the flaws it has for helping create some of the unique technique and ways that he's able to get up in the air and jump higher than everyone else on the planet. I mean, it's just incredible.
But, and I want to say, as I go back, Mondo's uncle Robert and I graduated pole cross together.
Right.
Robert was a pole vaulter. 2 years later, Mondo's father Greg was a pole vaulter at Holy Cross. And again, I know Robert well, and we still talk a couple of times a year, and especially about Mondo over the years. But so I go back to playing his family all the way to high school, and then of course I watched Antoine play for you with the old Marucci White Sox. And I announced many of those games, and I watched him get his greatest hits leader in LSU baseball history. Let that sink in. You got more hits than anybody ever played at LSU, in part because it was 4 seasons, but still. So the Duplantis family is something I've been aware of for a long, long time. It's not just something I jumped on when he jumped over the pole,
Yeah, I mean, and like everyone in that family, all of Greg's kids. I mean, Juan, Mondo, their siblings, they all jumpers. They had a sister and a brother who could LSU, and then even the youngest one, she's a great pole vaulter, although doesn't desire to want to be, but just naturally, bam, a great pole vaulter. Because I joke with Antoine, I call that family the Flying Lowendas. Like the
Duplantis. That's what we got to go with.
The trapeze family or whatever. That's kind of what they are. They're the first family of of pole vaulting in the world, no question about it. There's no other family that can roll out 5 or 6 pole vaulters as good as they can, but even close. So it's pretty amazing story. Unfortunately, as we always point out, he'll be competing in the Swiss colors and under the Swiss flag. But the state of Louisiana, the city of Lafayette High, LSU will be pulling for Mondo Duplantis. He's already won 1 gold, going for double gold, back-to-back Olympics. And if he does that, then probably will be the favorite, most likely, going into Los Angeles in 4 years to get 3 gold medals and 3 Olympics, which is unheard of. So looking forward to that. MLB trade deadline. Anything happened so far to catch your attention? I know the Cubs got a big trade, an all-star third baseman from the Tampa Rays headed to the Cubs. They're like that, they're trying to get better. They're trying to stay relevant for the playoffs and everything. Cubs spending the money. Tampa can't hold on to its people, getting rid of an all-star third baseman. But the deadline is Thursday.
Tuesday, tomorrow at 5.
Okay.
And a couple of big names. Jazz Chisholm went from the Marlins to the Yankees. He was in the game last night against the Red Sox. And then you had Randy Arozarena, a big star for Tampa a few years ago. He's now with the Seattle Mariners. James Paxton, a left-hand pitcher, is back with the Red Sox. And there's going to be some more moves today and tomorrow. I'm pretty sure about that. I'm keeping tabs on it. But there have been some moves. 5 o'clock tomorrow, Louisiana time, is the deadline. And, Astros are in first place. 5 weeks ago, they were 10 games out. Now they're in first place. Now they lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers over the weekend. My grandsons were all at the game on Friday night, so they had a good time. That's when Bregman hit a walk-off homer, and they were at the game. So they were all fired up about that. My daughter had the video of the walk-off bomb. So I'm certainly going to be paying a lot of attention to baseball. But, Ronnie, as you said in the opening, LSU football reports on Thursday. Thursday will be 1 month from their game with Southern Cal out of Vegas, because the game's September 1, the night before Labor Day. So, with all that being said, I'm ready for some LSU football, stories about Nussmeier, who's going to back him up. Defensive line, cornerback, that's your big question mark as we sit here today. What will Harold Perkins do? Mason Taylor, can he bounce back and have a bigger year than he did last year? So a lot of things we'll be going through with LSU football as they'll report Thursday.
One guy who will not be there for LSU football, who was not as big the last couple of years because his role changed with LSU football and athletics, but for many years, a huge part was Greg Stringfellow, the head equipment manager. After 30 years working for LSU, he's retired. He's now moved on to some other projects. He's involved with Tiger Air. He's involved with this new indoor sports facility with Oshner, and it's right near LSU's campus. It's got indoor football and whatnot. But Greg, was trained under Jeff Boss, who was a Hall of Fame equipment manager, died at a young age. Jeff Boss, who created the Nike Shark shoe, a special turf. You could wear it on turf, you could wear it on grass type shoe, a plastic molded shoe in the late 80s, early 90s. And it was the Boss Shark, it was called. And Greg learned from him and then took over when he got sick and did a great job, and big personality and a well-liked guy. And so it's definitely different not seeing Greg on the sidelines or in the locker room and all that, because he's, going back to when I started in college, Greg was pretty much there right after, and then till now. So it's definitely going to be different. And for all the alumni, think about all the football players that played in the last 30 years who are just used to String, what's up? Because coaches change and players change, but that support staff, some of those doctors, some of those, core support staff guys, Greg being the main one, that's your tie. That's your tie to your era. For 30 years, you come back, you're going to see Greg Stringfellow, a guy that you dealt with every single day in the equipment room. Your coaches are gone for the most part, usually. Obviously, the players are gone. Not all the other staff is the same. So it's those core people like Yael in the office, or Greg Stringfellow that you're tied to. So it's like Virginia with LSU baseball. This is her last year. She's retiring this year. The secretary for LSU baseball been there.
So wait, she's going to go one more year, or she's done already?
Hearing she's going one more year. That's what someone told me this past weekend.
Okay. Well, and two other names you're always going to see is Bill Franquez and Michael Barnett. Okay, they're there forever. I got a Stringfellow story for you. He was the guy who, many years ago, me and three other members of the media, this one was a different world, we all went to LSU every day. He showed us the purple pants before anybody knew that they were going to wear them against Kentucky. Donardo was the coach, and thank goodness they haven't worn them since. I remember when we saw him, okay, in the old Tiger Stadium, he used to have his office. We're like, they're not really going to do that, are they? And they did, and it didn't work. But so he kind of leaked that to me and two other guys.
I'll tell you one quick story about Greg. Gordy Rush and I were doing the Eagle 98.1 pre and post game show in the late 90s, early 2000s, and LSU went to Tennessee and lost, I believe, and they were slipping all over the field. There was a lot of, I don't know if it had rained. It was the old turf, right? And I don't know if they had the rain, and so there was a lot of guys had slipped making tackles, and more than one, to where it was noticeable. And maybe they even talked about it. Oh, the Tigers are slipping all over the place. And Gordy and I, because we're friends with Greg, we were set on air that in the post game that Greg Stringo forgot to pack the right cleats, that he forgot to pack the turf cleats that they had to play, and the grass cleats. And LSU fans, of course, believed it. Like they were like, yeah, it's really this loss is on Greg Stringfellow. They brought the wrong shoes up to Tennessee, and he said he got calls and emails or whatever, letters that week. What the hell, and he was mad at us for telling the world that he packed the wrong shoes. But anyway, good dude, and he'll be missed.
Yeah, no question about that. That old turf, Ronnie, it was terrible when it was hot because it got hot. Right. And it was very hard compared to nowadays. And it was terrible when it got a little rain, and then it got super slippery. The only time that turf was any good was when it was like 72 degrees and sunny and a light breeze. Because when I was in college, Northwestern State had an infield turf, okay, which was hard as a rock. I mean, balls would bounce, way up in the air. And at that time, I don't know that another college had a turf infield. I'm sure somewhere they did, but only in Louisiana was Northwestern State, the Demons. I can remember we go there to play. Not me, but all the infielders would take like 50 extra grounders. Like, how do we catch a ball on this stuff, and all of that. And it was very, very hard, very, very hot. What I remember.
TK, tell us about Court Street Cafe in downtown Port Allen.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week, steak night on Saturday, big famous brunch on Sundays, live music from time to time. Jason and the staff do a good job. Lunch specials, dinner specials, drink specials in the bar behind me. It's just a couple of minutes over the Mississippi River Bridge, 805 Court Street. Plenty of parking. They got a patio for when the weather cools down. They'll have ball games, LSU on the TVs that are in here. Check out Court Street Cafe in Port Allen.
And special thanks to LeBear's Casino, our presenting sponsor. You can bet on the Olympics over at the LeBear's Sportsbook in Baton Rouge. Matter of fact, the United States were a 13.5-point favorite over Serbia. Of course, they covered that one by 26, 28. So they covered easily. But you can go to the window over there and place your bets. South Sudan, a team that the United States escaped during the exhibition warm-up portion. They won by 1 bucket. They will take on South Sudan next in the Olympics. We'll have to find out about that line, and we'll talk.
South Sudan won their very first game. And this is a new country, basically. But they played the wrong national anthem for them before the game, so they were all upset about that. One thing about the U.S. win over Serbia, Jokic for Serbia, he's playing for Serbia. Okay? Djokovic, when he was on the floor against the USA, the score was tied. When he was off the floor, it was a 26-point difference, and that was the final margin of the game, 110-84, 26-point difference. So maybe Serbia should have played him a little bit more. I don't know. And then it's a big story with U.S. not playing Tatum, one of the best players in basketball, and Steve Kerr apologized, called himself an idiot for not playing him. But there's only 40 minutes in an Olympic game compared to 48 in the NBA. Kerr gave this story about it's hard to get more than 10 guys in and all of that. And he said, don't worry, he'll get to play. Well, yeah, he's probably going to start and not come off the floor next time. But so, again, there are lots of stories like that. And I know some people are in the Olympics. Not a lot of people, I don't think, certainly that run around in my circle or whatever. But anyway. All right, Ron, it's good. Don't forget to connect with the Rougarou on social media. Get all the off-season news. We're going to be blowing up the Baton Rouge Youth Baseball Coalition, which is a support arm for the Rougarou and youth baseball in the greater Baton Rouge area. But a lot of that's going to be coming out on social media. So Rougarou aren't playing baseball, but they're still going to be around.
The other thing too about the Rougarou, there's a story Lori Lyons is going to be putting out this afternoon. So follow it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's about last night's starting pitcher, Colin Foyle, the intern turned pitcher. Colin Foyle did not play college baseball this past spring, didn't make his Elon College team. He was our intern, our marketing and sports admin intern all summer. And then a couple of weeks ago, he was telling us how he was working out. We had some arm injuries and we were a little low. And we said, you know what, let's just try you out. We tried him out. He did great. We said, look, we're going to keep you as an emergency pitcher just in case. He only made 2 appearances. He threw four pitches and got a ground ball double play a week ago in Acadiana. And then he got the start last night. We went 3 innings, didn't give up a run, and was sensational. We in the final regular season game of the year. And so it's a great little story. So read about it with Lori Lyons today. And it's a good, and look, the kid's going back to Elon College and is going to make his college team this year. And the Rougarou are a big reason why. All right, Tommy will be back on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Until then, everybody have a great one.